Virgo, hello there, my beautiful friends. We're going to do your general tarot reading for mid-January 2026. Thank you so much for joining me today. You know, I appreciate each and every single one of you. So let's get right down to business as always and start you off with an oracle card here, just so we can dip our toes in the energy and see what's happening for the lovely Virgo collective. I hope you're all doing fabulous and fantastic, my friends. Let's get it going. My guide, spirit team, talk to me. What do we got for these beautiful Virgos in mid-January? We're starting the calendar year off. What energies, messages, insights can we take a little peek at? And yeah, we're just going to take a real quick look at this first card. Then we'll get into the full reading itself. And at the very end, I'll pull you a bonus card from the Shadowland Tarot just to see what might be in the shadows or what shadow work you can lean into, which is always interesting. But let's get it going here. Let's rock and see what we got for Virgo in mid-January. What's the vibe? What's the energy for my good friends? Let's get this card out nice and quick. Hopefully, you know, for up and ask and you shall receive. Okay. Very much internal type of energy. And this is something I often see around water signs quite a bit. There's a lot of different layers to this card because it's not just like sleepy or spiritual or daydreaming. It's like a sandwich of a lot of different energies showing up here. But before we fully dive into that, if you're new here, I'll be speaking about the January subscriber surprise towards the end, so you might want to check that out. And also, if you could kindly illuminate that like button by tapping it right on its third eye, you know, I'd greatly appreciate it. But enough of the promo, back into the reading. Let's talk more in depth about this card. So as you can see, we have this lovely lady. It looks kind of like she's bent in half. So I usually say it's like, all right, either she's like meditating or doing yoga. So like stretches, and so some of you that could be very specific. Maybe you're doing a lot of body stretches. But to me, it seems like she's in the dream world, the etheric plane, right? Like notice all the stuff around her. It's like she's half awake, half asleep. That's the vibe I'm picking up here. So for some of you, it could be a very simple message where it's like, okay, well, make sure you're not burning the candle at both ends. Make sure you're getting proper rest and relaxation. Now, for a lot of Virgos, you could be in that watery internal place where you might be doing a little more daydreaming than you normally do. A little bit of fantasy and fantasizing and stuff like that. Now, this is a great energy for any creative pursuit or endeavor, expressing yourself, letting emotions out, bringing them from the etheric into the material. So it's great for any sort of creative outlet. But to me, it's just like super daydreamy. And watch out for energy levels. That's like another thing I think of with this card. If you've been feeling like zapped or you've been feeling down, I think it's super important to try to recalibrate or rest and bring that energy back up to baseline. So we're just going to leave it right there. For some of you, you might be having some really interesting dreams too. So we're just going to let her keep doing what she's doing. We won't disturb. Let's get into tarot. And yeah, I always say that first card, it doesn't make or break the reading. It's just a little footnote. So let's get you 3 tarot cards in the upright. Then we'll get into that intuitive juiciness. Shuffle it up one time here for the beautiful Virgos. And while we get this deck shuffled up and ready to go, let's talk about last week's reading. Now, it did feel pretty high strung to me. Now, it didn't necessarily mean it was your energy. It could just be someone around you. But the reading was titled They Are Nervous. And it showed up in multiple places within the reading where, whether it was like overstimulation, a lot of thinking, a little bit of stress, a little anxiety. Like to me, it just felt like a lot of input. So hopefully you haven't been too wound tight. But we're going to see what shows up this week. As you know, energy is very fluid, never set in stone. So only take this how it hits for you, because we could be seeing your vibe or somebody else, right? Let's get it going here. Let's get 3 cards for Virgo in mid-January. Maybe that energy will be flowing a little bit smoother this week. 2 of Swords. Okay, this must be a big theme for Earth sign placements. Okay, it's like we're starting with a mystery. We're starting with a lot of unknowns. I could be looking for information. Let's get a couple more. 3 swords. So many swords in all the Earth signs. Okay. And again, this doesn't have to be a bad thing. Remember, this is just like the foundation of what we're looking at within the reading. Let's get one more here for you. What do we have for Virgo? Just the foundation, my good friends. And we got the beautiful High Priestess herself. Now, that could be a very good sign. But the only thing that could potentially be a little speed bump for us is all the mystery that's showing up. Now, let's go through. I'll give you some of the classical meanings and archetypes, then we'll get into that juicy, intuitive stuff. But at first glance, you know, I always like to look at the elements first. It informs us about certain areas of life that could be affected, or the way the energy is flowing. Now, it does seem extremely fluid to me. We are leading off with a heavy, heavy dose of air energy, which makes sense. That's very much internal. Now, what do I think of when I see air, aka the swords? I think of the mind. It's like very logical, very pragmatic, extremely smart and intelligent, and does deal with taking in information or finding it, especially with this card on the front. We'll get to that in a little bit. It could be strategy and planning. It's just a very intelligent, pragmatic energy, which I think is nice. And Virgos usually do carry a bit of that, even though you're an earth sign. There's certain pragmatism to Virgo energy. But I mean, it could be communication. We just have to look at the undertones. But the downside to air energy, it could be a little cold. It could be a little detached. Sometimes it could even be a little mean. So we want to look at that further. And it does focus heavily on the mindset and the mind, certain things that we can't get off our mind as well. And then we have the water right here on the back end with the high priestess. Water is more matters of the heart. So it's like we have the heart and mind, all internal energy. Now, water is great for creativity, just like we saw with that oracle card, imaginative, daydreaming. Water does also deal with partnerships, connections, things or people we care deeply for, heavily attached to water. Um, the downside to it is that it's up in the air, right? So that seems to be a big theme. All this energy is always moving, always flowing. So for some of you, you might feel like you're in limbo, or like that. There's just something about the energy where I'm up in the air. Let's go through and start building this out piece by piece. Position number one, Two of Swords. So as you can see, we have this lovely lady here. She is blindfolded and hoodwinked. Two swords crossed. It's nighttime. There's the moon. So there's a ton of symbolism here that implies mystery. Now, the classical version of this card can represent indecision. It can represent confusion, unknowns. And just like I've been saying, there could be like this searching for information or searching to understand something. Um, it doesn't just have to be confusion or indecision though. Like to me, like the big theme I always think of with this card is the unknowns. So whether it's questions, whether it's things I'm curious about, whether it's things I'm wondering, or it could just be stuff that's off our radar right now that pops up out of the blue, surprising or unexpected. Now the challenge with this, yeah, it can represent a problem that comes in out of nowhere, or a situation where it's like, okay, wasn't expecting this, here it is. I'm not saying that's definitely going to happen, but the Two of Swords can also be very secretive, and that's going to be a theme, especially in the main part of this reading, where there's this very quiet, very, very quiet energy. So we'll circle back on that. Just because it's mysterious doesn't have to mean it's a bad thing, but I don't know what this energy is searching for. Again, I'm not saying it's definitely you, it could be someone else. Moving to the center, we have the Three of Swords. Now, awesome looking image, right? I'm sure a lot of you, even if you're not readers, you've seen this card a time or 10. Um, you see it everywhere, right? Like it's on product and merchandise, and it's on like pajama pants and shirts and posters because the image looks cool. But generally, this is not the nicest energy. It is one of the challenging cards in the tarot deck. But I always say this is on a spectrum, right? It could be something minor, like maybe you're just feeling a little bit gloomy. Maybe you're feeling a little bit down. Maybe just a couple of the days are a little bit rough, a little bit of a struggle. But this can also range to feeling heartbroken, feeling anger, sad, like that whole emotional gamut of those rough things could be included with the Three of Swords. The good thing about this is it's fixable. That's the one thing I always love about the Three of Swords. It's like, okay, this energy will stabilize. It is fixable. So that's always a good thing to look forward to. Now, moving to the back end, as we get this Three of Swords right back here by the two, we have the beautiful high priestess herself. And I always say she is the matron of psychics, intuitives, and tarot readers. Zodiacally, she does classically connect to Pisces, but I give her to all water signs. So Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio, you might be connected to someone with those placements. Maybe you have those placements too. She is very intuitive. So your intuition could be spiking. Your empathy could be spiking. If you're sensitive to energy, it's like extra sensitivity when I see this card. So like a lot of things you might be feeling might not even be yours. They might be coming from somebody else. That's very possible when this high priestess is here. Aside from that, she could represent religious things, religious ritual, pulling in religious or spiritual information. But she's quiet, right? That's the big thing. Like she's sitting between those pillars. She is very hushed. She knows a lot of things. She knows a lot of information, but she's keeping it very quiet. So, like when we have this very hidden, unexpected, surprising energy, hidden, very unexpected, surprising energy on the back, it's like we got two different ones showing their face here. So, again, not to say that it's a bad thing, but we just need to uncover it. And that's something I've been feeling since we first started pulling these cards. It's like I feel like I'm searching for information. I feel like I'm trying to uncover something. I feel like I'm trying to understand something. So let's dive deeper on all of it, Virgo. Let's jump in and clarify. Okay, let's get a good shuffle here for you, my friends. And yes, this is where I go intuitive with the message, which means I just tell you how it feels to me. So feel free to do further research or rely on your base knowledge of tarot, because as you know, every single reading is about the reader's interpretation, and I'm just giving you mine. Let's go in on that Two of Swords. And yeah, if you're a reader yourself, please feel free to play along. That's why the box is here. If you're feeling any messages you want to give to Virgo, drop it in the comments. I don't mind at all. Okay, why is that Two of Swords here? Why is that Two of Swords here? Okay. It's like an impending type of feeling. This could be very karmic based. All right, so we have the Death card in the upright. Don't get nervous about that. Don't get scared about that. I always tell everybody this to me is more of an energy of change or a shift in a dynamic or a paradigm. So I think Death, and I might be biased because I have Scorpio placements, but I actually think Death is a positive card. Now, again, popular culture might tell you different, like with what we see in movies and stuff, where everyone's always pulling the Death card. Oh, scary, scary. To me, it's just an energy of change. Now, for a portion of you, yeah, maybe you are connected to Scorpio. And being someone with Scorpio placements, if you're a Scorpio, don't get mad at me. We are known to be a little secretive sometimes. That is like one of the traits of Scorpio: very private, very quiet, very secretive. So when I see the Two of Swords and the Death and the High Priestess, there's just something being kept very quiet that we want to look forward towards the back end, whether it's a thought, whether it's a feeling. It's like I'm keeping this to myself. I'm keeping very quiet about it. Now, if we put all that to the side, yes, this can represent a karmic change, a karmic shift, or a situation you might be dealing with where it's like, all right, well, this will serve you in the future, even if it's not pleasant. You were meant to experience that. So it could definitely be the karmic situations. But if I were to put a big label on it, when we go from the Two of Swords to the Death card, this could absolutely be an unexpected or a surprising change or a shift in energy. Because it's like, oh, I didn't see it come. All right, the energy's shifting, whether I like it or not. It's moving to another chapter. So whether that's an external change, whether that's an internal change, but I don't know why it's being so hush hush. Let's keep going. Let's go in on the Three of Swords. Now I want to go to the High Priestess and see what she's about. We'll get to her at the end. But let's see why the Three of Swords is here. Why is the Three of Swords here? Okay. It's like sour. Like the energy feels a little sour. Okay. Not sour in like a grudgy way. We got the King of Cups in reverse. Our good pal, the King of Cups, aka Kyle of Cups himself, in reverse. Oh no. Now, underneath the Three of Swords, we already spoke about it that, yeah, this could represent some down, gloomy, upset, or angry type of energy as well. So, usually the King of Cups in the upright represents controlling emotions, taking that nice neutral path. Everything's under control. Everything's fine. I'm feeling great and looking even better. That's what we like about the King of Cups. But notice he showed up in reverse underneath it. So Three of Swords, King of Cups, I'm not feeling too hot. So could this still be the nerves that we were seeing last week? Absolutely. Could there be something you're a little pissed about? Sure. Whether it's someone that like proverbially stepped on your toes or somewhat. To me, it's just like a bit of a sour energy I'm picking up here. So again, doesn't mean that it's grudgy, but to me, it's just like, I don't like this. That's just how it feels. I don't like it. I don't think we need to overcomplicate it. So again, for some of you, you may be dealing with some difficult situations or problems. That's very possible with this combination here in the front, but that's not the end of the story. That's what I'm trying to get to here. And again, if you are connected to a water sign, especially with all this stuff, they might be the ones going through a tough one. But let's keep moving over to the High Priestess. I don't think we need to like hyper focus on that. So let's see what the High Priestess has. Then we'll do our recap before we get into the shadow. So why is the High Priestess in the mix? Okay. Okay. Patience. All right. So it is another karmic energy here. And, you know, I try to stray away from speaking too much about karma and karmic situations and karmic connections and people catching a dose of karma and all that stuff, because it's a very complex, nuanced type of topic where it's like something we could sit down and write a book about or talk about for hours. But there are two extremely karmic cards here with the Death card and the Seven of Pentacles. Now, when I see the High Priestess with this card, if we put the karmic stuff to the side for now, to me, it's like, what am I waiting for? It's like an energy that's like kind of sitting around waiting. You might be searching for signs, synchronicities, and omens. And a lot of times in life, we receive those when we're not looking for them. So there is this energy here of like spirit trying to communicate to you or send you a message. But for another portion of you, there might be someone, I'm not saying it's you, that might just be frustrated with a lack of motion or a lack of movement. It's like, oh, what am I doing here? Like, what am I waiting for? And from what I know about Virgo energy, similar to a lot of my placements, it's like a results driven type of zodiac sign. So when I see the high priestess with the seven of pentacles, it's like, all right, well, what am I doing this for? Or like, what am I waiting? Where are the results? Like, if I'm not getting the results I want, what the hell am I doing here? It's giving me that kind of vibe. And that's more on like the micro scale. Macro scale, yes, we could absolutely see some of you going through like a karmic change, karmic shift, transformation, because a lot of times transformations are never easy. If we're looking at this as one big storyboard instead of separate things, when I see the Two of Swords and this, and then the transformation, it is somebody coming out the other side transformed. So there could be certain things you've recently gone through or certain things you're undergoing currently where it's like, okay, growing pains. I'm getting the growing pains from this karmic shift or transformation. Pressure makes diamonds, right? But I also get this energy where it's like, all right, well, where are the results? What am I doing? What am I waiting for? Am I wasting my time? That's something I'm thinking about. But let's go through and do a quick recap. Then we'll get into the shadow. If you kindly look in the box position number one, we have the Two of Swords with the Death card. That does look heavy. That does look scary, but it doesn't make me feel that way. This is where we first get that shifting, changing, karmic type of energy. It's there in a very strong way. Your energy sensors could be really going off, especially with all this spiritual energy that's happening here. Um, Moving to the center, we have the Three of Swords with the King of Cups in reverse. This energy is a little uncomfortable. It's a little sour about something. This is where the growing pains show up. So could there be some situations or problems that just aren't sitting right? Absolutely. The energy does settle as we get to the back end here. The energy does seem to smooth out and even out, which is a really good thing. But we have the High Priestess. So again, very quiet, very spiritual with the Seven of Pentacles. The only big frustration I'm seeing here is someone feeling like they're not getting results or potentially wasting their time, where it's like, I'm not seeing the results of, or I'm not seeing what I should be seeing by now. I don't know why it's coming through that way, but there is this overarching theme of karmic metamorphosis and change, and it could be tied closely to your life's mission and purpose. So please take a screenshot if you want to look into it further. Let's see what's in the shadows. Okay, let's get a good shuffle here. And yeah, I always like to pull one of these at the very end just to see whether it's something within you or something you don't quite see. Shadow cards don't always have to be a challenge. They could be a good thing too. So let's get you one. And yeah, if you made it to this point in the reading, please feel free to check out channel memberships. I'll put a link for it in the comments below. It's a beautiful way to support the channel, and I have much love for all my channel members. Okay, let's get this shadow card out. What do we got for Virgo, please? Nice and quick. Okay. Nine of Wands, the Wounded Warrior. This is an energy that is on alert. So I think that can serve you sometimes. Like, it's an energy that is cautious. It does have walls and barriers up. It's someone that's been through some stuff and they don't necessarily want to deal with that again, potentially. It's someone that has been through the ringer, so to speak. So again, it could be someone else's energy. As far as communication goes, this energy feels a little sealed, a little blocked off for one reason or another. Now, does that mean this energy is permanently going to stay that way? No. The shadow side of the, like, in the good sense, the Nine of Wands is like very protective and it's like very safe and very cautious. So this could just be spirit saying like, all right, Virgo, proceed with caution with whatever it is you're dealing with. But the real shadow side of the Nine of Wands could be a little stubborn or inflexible. So that's just an energy to watch out for, being too set, because that would definitely cause friction with this karmic energy we saw in this week's reading. So please, you can look into that further if you'd like as well. That's what I have for you this week, Virgo. Don't click away just yet, though. I'm going to give you the details of the January subscriber surprise. If you would like further insight on your situation, or if you'd like to see what 2026 has in store for you, you can book a personal reading with me at my website, mastermetaphysics.com. The January schedule's already up, so you could go check it out and see what's available. It's going quick, but for the January subscriber surprise, I'm giving away 3 copies of one of my favorite decks, the Everyday Witches Tarot. It's absolutely adorable and is great for readers of all skill levels. So if you'd like to get your name in for this, it's 2 simple things. As always, my friends, first, you must be subscribed. And second, let me know down in the comments from today's reading which card spoke to you the most. Even if the reading didn't quite hit, which card was giving you those warm and fuzzies or really caught your attention. You'll be entered to win, and at the end of the month, the winners will be announced in my community tab. As always, my friends, much love, and I'll see you soon.